So welcome to another edition of Yorkshire Kris Weekly. The last few days have been pretty cold, both day and night. Dipped down to -2.5 near the jungle hut and -1.5 near the house, which is the centre a little bit higher up. And the next few nights are going to be pretty cold as well, down to freezing, with the days only getting up to 4 or 5 degrees. And then we don't know after that. I think it's going to get pretty cold for the next couple of weeks. Hopefully nothing extreme, but definitely fridge temperatures at best, and down to probably -2 or 3 at night on the colder nights. So I'm going to do a lot of extra protection around the garden, so that's what I'm going to show you in this episode. Well, I managed to find a sledgehammer, and I got the post nice firmly in, filled up all this structure with straw, put fleece around the edges, and I just need to put a top on this. But as you can see, there's loads of straw right round the stems, so not just in the middle but around the stems as well. And obviously this one here is not protected at all, so we'll compare how they get on. So that's the Musabaju wrapped. The ones in the front garden nearer the house, and they won't be wrapped at all, and hopefully they'll be fine. But these at the end of the garden do get colder, so that's why I've wrapped them this year. Oh, and the pitcher plants and the Venus flytraps still outside. They've been frozen through, but they're totally fine. Totally hardy, these pitcher plants, and the Venus flytraps definitely fine down to -5 or so, but it is going dormant. A lot of the traps dying off, but they'll regrow in spring. So we'll do a bit of a walk through the garden. And as you can see, the tree ferns are still nice and green, which is great. Not protected those apart from the straw in the centre of each of these, although I have here got a bit of carpet. I've just thrown over one that's slightly more exposed, just because I had the bit of carpet, so that's why it's over that one. Most of them are not covered at all. The Trachycarpus are fine as they are. Round here got the Butia catariensis, and I've just put some of this material, this plastic sort of under floor for sleeping bags. It's like a foam, just around to stop the roots freezing, because it's only got planted last year, and I didn't want the roots freezing if it got some severe cold. Hopefully this palm is hard enough to survive -5, -6 without any damage, and hopefully it won't get that cold anyway. Over there I've put some tyres around the Trachycarpus martianus, put a bit of fleece round inside the tyres around the trunk, and then to stop the wind and rain I've put a piece of polycarbonate, just bent it over and just wedged it in there just to give it a bit of protection. And it's near the greenhouse, which will be giving out a bit of heat. That'll be keeping, hopefully, the martianus totally fine over winter. Not protected, the Princeps hybrid, but I have put a little bit, just because I've got it spare, that material around the Princeps there, because the roots are quite exposed on this one. Quite a few surface roots, so I've just protected that a little bit. Then I've got the Gemini sectus, which hardiness I'm still not completely certain on, so I put some straw around the roots, and then I put the plastic shelter over the top to stop any potential snow or slushy ice forming on there. Then, it doesn't look great, but behind the chairs and the polycarbonate sheets we have got the Latisectus, which can get damaged by exposure to frost and minus several degrees, so protected that, and also just because it's next to it, the Nanus has got some protection as well. Around here I have temporarily wrapped up the mule palm, so that'll be unwrapped when the threat of this cold weather is over. Now the problem with, obviously, if you work full time, you might get 5 days when you're at work, and in that time the weather forecast changed and it decides to get really cold and you don't have time to go and protect stuff. So that's why I'm not certain what it's going to be like by the end of this week, so I've protected this now. I don't really like fleece on it for too long, But I also don't want to lose this palm or get too much damage, so I've decided to cover it for this week, and then we'll see what it's like next week. And if it does warm up miraculously, I will uncover this when I can on the night time. The big tree fern, put the sleeping bag over this one mainly because it's newly planted. It's a huge plant and I don't want to lose it at all, so there's straw in that. And then I've unzipped it and I've checked on it and I've given it a little bit of water in the crown because it wasn't dry, but it was getting pretty dry because it's not had much rain at all for the last few weeks. So I just give that a bit of water on the top of the trunk and the crown. Under there, just got the Gunnera Proper Manicata, just protect that a little bit because it's its first winter in the ground. It's not fully established, probably overkill, but as it's there I thought I'd just cover it. Down here we have got an aloe polyfiller, just a plastic box over that and a brick to weigh it down. Quick and easy protection. Let's go over the bridge. There's Antidecia Hercules there, still looking fine because it's not been that cold yet. Not done anything with that Bootia catariensis, hopefully that'll be fine. Now the beds that I've shown you before, this is where all the dahlias, some of the cannas and also all the colocasia pink chinas are, so a load of straw and just material, polycarbonate with some bricks on top just to insulate it and stop that blowing away. On this side, similar sort of thing with wooden board over the top. No protection on the Jubea or the Princeps palms around here. Showing you the protection already of the arid bed with the polycarbonate sheets over. No protection on these arid plants, the Yucca and Diasterodarian and the Chemops palm. Again, protection on more the colocasias. That's the Cycas revoluta that I protected in an earlier video, completely wrapped up there, lots of fleece. That'll stay like that till probably March. Just put a little bit of fleece on top of the Rhea Marta, mainly because of the slushy snow that we were forecast last night. The straw again to protect the gingers. I do use a lot of straw. Melianthus is totally fine. Bamboos are fine. This is the one that's flowering. Still flowering. There we are. This is a big fleece bag that I've just put over the Trachycarpus here because this is a rare Trachycarpus. This is Trachycarpus aureophilus, which is about 1.80 meter tall now. Beautiful leaves on that one. These cannas, I've left them as they are. You've still got some green shoots at the bottom because it's been very mild recently. So that's not been protected, and they seem pretty hardy. This species anyway. This Bootia has not been protected. If it gets really cold, I probably will do. Obviously the bamboos are fine as they are, and the eucalyptus trees. There are all my other tree ferns with the straw in the top, but no other protection at all. No protection on the Princeps hybrids, because they'll be fine. The worst that'll happen with them is spearpull. It's getting quite dark now, getting close to the end of the day. Very cloudy day we've had. There's another, that's a beautiful one, isn't it? That's a beautiful Princeps hybrid. Really interesting rigid leaf on that one, almost like a waggy. That is a big duvet I've stuck over the Washingtonia robusta, which I'll take off if I think it's going to warm up next day or so. It's only been there, well, one night it's been on. And then again more straw on a bit of top of the gingers. And that's it, this Bootia, my favourite Bootia that I've grown from a very small plant, is looking stunning now. Big, strong, curved Green leaves looking great. And that doesn't need any protection unless it gets really cold. And that's looking over the garden. Obviously lots of shelters, which is not great looking, but as I said, not many people see this part of the garden in winter. By the time it gets to spring, all the shelters will be removed. So join me next week for another edition of Exotic Gardening UK Yorkshire Kris Weekly. Thanks for watching.